Go ahead, yeah.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today. I'm really thrilled to be here today with our Premier and our Minister of Labour, Minister Piccini, to launch the 5th round of funding through the Skills Development Program. This fund is driving force behind our province's growth, prosperity, with a total investment of more than $1.5 billion, and that's billion, that's a lot of money. We're making sure that we can make incredible strides in addressing the skilled labor shortage in the province today. We are training and upskilling workers for in-demand sectors. These workers are needed to build hospitals, schools, roads, transit, and homes. As a Member of Parliament for Cambridge, I am thrilled that the Skills Development Fund has invested $7.2 million in my riding. Companies including Grand Valley Construction Association and Canadian Tooling and Machining Association are using these funds to connect job seekers with good-paying jobs. The Skill Development Fund is a game changer, and I look forward to seeing even more companies benefit from the next round of funding. We have a lot of work to do to resolve the labour shortage, and I'm absolutely confident that our government is in the works in planning. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Premier Ford, Minister Piccini, and MPP Brian Riddell. On behalf of the Canadian Tooling and Machining Association and our program partners, I would like to thank everybody for being with us here today. My name is Robert Cattle. I'm the Executive Director of the CTMA, and I'd like to take a minute to explain our program to you. We believe that during your career, you learn the most at work, where businesses train people every day, whether it be here on the shop floor, in the design department, or in the HR office. Companies rely on their most senior, productive employees to transfer their skills and knowledge to new employees or upskill existing ones, and this comes at a cost. Our program compensates employers for this cost by offering a wage subsidy so that companies can hire more apprentices, more job seekers, post-secondary co-ops, and upskill existing employees. Since its inception, the Career Ready with CTMA Expanding Opportunities program has been responsible for over 1,000 experiential work placements, which has created hundreds of new careers and apprenticeships within the precision metalworking industry. The second feature of our program focuses on exposing high school students to lucrative careers available to them in our industry. Our high school tech shops have been neglected for decades, and our Career Ready program specifically targets this issue. Along with help from our program partner, OCTI, plus a significant investment by the Ontario government, we have installed brand new, high-tech CNC equipment, measuring tools, and consumables in tech classrooms. By the end of this year's program, we will have installed equipment in over 130 high schools throughout the province of Ontario. Thousands of students are now being exposed to the technology that is currently being utilized in today's precision metalworking sector. High school grads start work immediately and learn alongside experienced professionals who are willing to transfer their skills and knowledge to them, and they begin earning instead of accumulating debt. Premier Ford commented during the pandemic that we must never again be beholden on countries to manufacture items for us. By exposing youth to careers within the manufacturing sector, we will ensure that a constant supply of skilled workers can be provided right here in Ontario. It's been a pleasure working with Minister Piccini and his team, and I would like to thank him for strong support of our program. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ian DeWaard. I'm the Ontario Director for the CLAC, the Christian Labour Association of Canada. Over the past 3 years, our union has been delivering CLAC's Construction Boot Camp program, which equips and then places new construction workers in paid experiential learning opportunities. Armed with this introductory training, many, like my friend Shiloh Worthy, who's here with me today, have gone on to apprenticeship in the construction trades. Previously, Shiloh worked at a grocery store and for a temp agency. He knew he was interested in construction, but wasn't sure how or where to start. He then found his way to Clacks Boot Camp, where he spent 2 weeks learning basic skills and completing safety training, and then was placed with an employer for 6 weeks of paid on-the-job learning. Through this program, Shiloh has found a steady construction job and is now well on his way toward becoming a licensed carpenter. The SDF support for Clacks Boot Camp program not only helps create training opportunities, but it's also cementing partnerships among stakeholders who are seized with solving the impending skills gap and worker shortage. Through the SDF-enabled program that CLAC offers, we've been able to work with Prison Fellowship Ministries, Walpole Island First Nations, Rainy River First Nations, the town of Shelburne, the County of Wellington, Hamilton District Christian High School, and with more than 80 construction contractors. All of us working together to create pathways into good paying and rewarding construction careers. With the financial support of the province, we as stakeholders are working to ensure that Ontario will have the skilled workers needed to meet the infrastructure, housing, and productive capacity needs for a growing and prosperous province. So on behalf of CLAC and our 18,000 members here in Ontario, I'm pleased to bring both congratulations and thanks to Premier Ford and Minister Piccini for their continued investments into Ontario's future construction workforce through the Skills Development Fund. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff MacIntyre. I'm the president of the Grand Valley Construction Association. And to Premier Ford and Minister Piccini, thank you so much on behalf of an industry that needs a lot of people. Construction industry, no question about it, is depleted, and there's a lot of opportunities coming our way. And often I'll get a call. I've had some discussions with potentially a minister of immigration federally and say, how many employees do you need? And I always say 10,000. And they go, we'll get you them. And my first question back to them is, cool, where are they going to live? We have a housing crisis, and there's a lot of things that are going on right now. So we talked about what would better look like. As Grand Valley is celebrating its 50th year this year, we were trying to say, what would better look like? And we approached our partners at the region of Waterloo with Karen Redmond and her team, and we said there are probably people that live in this community that want to work in construction, but have no pathway to get there. And we also talked to employers who get thousands of resumes, but there's no connection into construction, and those resumes just go into the garbage. So we thought about this, and we created a program called Path to Employment. And the path to employment is working with our regional partners, finding those people that already live in our community. We don't have to move them here. They're here now, but they haven't been able to gain employment. We train them for 5 weeks. We give them full PPE, head to toe, and then we give them a 4-week paid placement. And it's incredible the impact it had. Our first cohort had 21 people. 16 of them are working now, and 12 of them have been offered full-time employment. These are construction jobs that pay over $50,000 a year. It's incredible the impact that it's having. Through this program, it's transformational, and it's rerouting the lives of these individuals, which is incredible. Our second cohort started this morning. We have 25 individuals in the office, and 13 of them are women. This is incredible as well. We need more women in construction, and this is a tool for us to do that. So we match and curate the individuals between the employment opportunity, all the skill sets, and suddenly now they're not unknown entities. They have experience, and it moves through. Mr. Premier, Mr. Minister, I hope you get a chance to meet some of these individuals someday so they can thank you, but I also would like the ability for you to thank them for the contribution that they're going to make to building our community going forward. So I have a minute, not even, but I'd like you, through the media, I'd like to talk about these people. I'm not going to do it, but ask me about McHale, who on Friday was offered a full-time job. Ask me about Ainsley, who never thought about a career in construction, and this morning called us at 8 o'clock this morning to say she's gainfully employed, full-time position. Ask me about Simon, who fit in, and ask me about Tim, who's going to be moved out of a shelter next Friday for a full-time job. This program is significant. So we can't thank you enough for their dedication. And most importantly, you've given us through the fund a roadmap to create a model that maybe we can do it without SDF funding. We're going to take the funding, don't get me wrong. But if there's an opportunity, because employers are saying now, could you do this for us? Could you train people? Could you curate the opportunities? This is impactful. Through your grant, you've allowed us to do so. So thank you very much.
Wow, thank you, Jeff. I really hope you do get a question about Tim. and thank you to everyone for being here today. Better training, better jobs with bigger paychecks. That's what this is all about with the Skills Development Fund. It's great to be here today with Premier Ford. A big and special thank you to the team at XL Tool for having us here today, for welcoming us. To Rob, Jeff, Ian, and the entire team, I want to thank you for working in partnership with us. Good politics and good policy is a two-way street. Thank you for always challenging us and for working with us for the people we serve. And to my colleagues, Brian, for your words, Mike, who's unable to be here today, but Will, Jess, and this entire area. These are the strong voices who are on the ground, listening to their constituents, understand the need for better training in their communities, and I can't thank you all enough for your tireless leadership and working with us. These are phenomenal representatives for this community who work in partnership with incredible municipal leaders who are here with us today. Thank you for standing with us, for working with the Government of Ontario for this remarkable fund. You know, under the leadership of Premier Ford, we're growing Ontario's economy and revving up our most productive sectors like manufacturing, like construction. And we all saw during the pandemic, I mean, to think, fun fact for you, that at the beginning of the pandemic, 0% of our PPE was manufactured here in Ontario. Today, I think it's 90%, Premier, today in Ontario. When we put our mind to it, there's nothing that we can't achieve in Ontario. And as companies retool for the future, employers are looking to hire tens of thousands of people. And we have the people looking for jobs. But not enough workers have the skills and training that companies need for these new jobs. That's why we launched the Skills Development Fund. It's a targeted, practical, and effective program to make sure you have the skills and training to be ready for work from day one on the job, and to get connected with the employers who need you. That's why I'm pleased to announce that right here in Kitchener, our government is partnering with these organizations you see here today to train nearly 3,300 workers in manufacturing and construction. By investing over $7.2 million through our Skills Development Fund, we're providing free training to make sure workers are job ready for highly in-demand careers, such as tool and die making, mold making, drywalling, and precision metalwork. And you heard, we're bringing back CNC, bringing back shop, back to high schools, and it couldn't come anytime sooner. So thank you. In partnership with the Canadian Tool and Machining Association, we're investing $5.4 million to train 3,000 apprentices and students in manufacturing technology programs with paid job placements with local employers. The Grand Valley Construction Association, $1 million to train workers in construction and then connect them to employers in Waterloo, Brant, and Wellington regions who are facing labour shortages. And with CLAC, we're investing $700,000 to train local workers in construction basics and health and safety, followed by paid job placements with additional coaching and mentorship for these new workers. But behind these announcements are stories, like Shiloh, who's here today. Your story was inspiring. Caught me on the way in, just gulping down a coffee before. But to hear his stories, I mean, this is why we do it. A better job with a bigger paycheck. He's found his passion. He's completing level 1, and he is on his way to a CFQ designation. So congratulations for what you do, Shiloh. And a profound thank you to Ian and the CLAC team for harnessing this remarkable potential. This brings Ontario's total investment in training for Kitchener workers to more than $20 million. Brian, thank you for your leadership. Since we launched our Skills Development Fund 3 years ago, we've trained over 92,000 manufacturing workers, over 60,000 construction workers, and over 36,000 PSW and healthcare workers. Under this Premier, our government knows that to get the future we want, we have to build it. And there is nobody with an eye to that future, as Wayne Gretzky said, going where the puck's going, than Premier Doug Ford. And I'm proud to be here with the people who are building that bright future for Ontario. Now it is my honor to turn it over to the man with that vision, Premier Ford, to make another exciting announcement. Premier.
Good job. Well, thank you. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, David, for that introduction, and thank you for doing a great job. You know, David's shown leadership right across the Ministry of Labour, from Windsor over to Ottawa, up to Thunder Bay, and everywhere in between. It's great to be back here in the beautiful city of Kitchener. Right, Mayor Bear? Anyways, alongside Minister Piccini and MPP Brian Riddell, and Brian worked at Conestoga. He understands trades better than all of us, and you've done an incredible job representing this region. I just got to make sure he sticks around for the next 20 years. Before I begin, I want to give a big thank you to Chris and Dan and everyone at XL Tool for hosting us today. And I got to tell you, what I love most about when I travel around and go into the facilities are meeting the women and men here. I met the folks earlier on. You guys are all champions. Just think, if it wasn't for these folks, parts wouldn't be made. The tooling and the dies wouldn't be made. So thank you. And the technology is amazing how things have changed over a number of years. And I just want to also acknowledge all the mayors, and Mayor McCabe and Mayor Foxton, and as I say, Mayor Bear, Verbinovic, and Chair Karen Redmond. They have a great team out here, right from the chair and all the mayors. They work so well together, and we're going to continue building this region economically and make sure we have the housing that's needed out here. I also want to thank the Canadian Tooling and Machining Association, the Grand Valley Construction Association, and the Christian Labour Association of Canada for joining us today. The work that you do to prepare workers for jobs in construction, tooling and machining, and a variety of skilled trades is absolutely vital to our future. You know, I have an opportunity to travel around and meet so many different folks and have people up here from the U.S., our #1 trading partner. We do about $500 billion of two-way trade with them. And they're in awe when they come up to Ontario. And I always say, one governor said, you know, Doug, you're eating our lunch. And that's a good thing. And I love our American neighbors because we ship out a lot of parts down there as well. But it all goes back to one thing. It's the people. The people that live here, the talent. I'll put our people up against anyone in the entire world. And I just want to thank you for your partnership, and thank you for the critical role you play, that your workers play in building Waterloo Region. Friends, as everyone in this room knows, this region is growing at a rapid pace. Matter of fact, not just this region, Ontario is the fastest growing region in North America, bar none. And I'll give you one example. When you talk to the two great governors, one from Florida and Texas, they love saying, we're the fastest growing state in the U.S. And yes, they're the fastest growing states. They bring in 1,000 people a day. So that's 365,000 each state. Last year, we brought in over 800,000 people. So we're bringing more people than both Texas and Florida combined. We're over 16 million people. We'll surpass New York State in probably another 5-6 years. From Woolwich to Cambridge, from Wellesley to North Dumfries, we're seeing more and more families establishing roots, local companies expanding, and new businesses setting up shop. Every night I get an update from our Minister of Economic Development, Vic Fedeli. He's traveling around the world, attracting companies here, and the list is staggering, the amount of companies. And this is what we know about. You know, even companies that are adding 10 people or 20 people, 50 people, investing $1 million to $10 million to billions of dollars. Everyone now is looking at Ontario. I always just say we're the engine of Canada. Now we're the economic powerhouse in North America, an economic powerhouse around the world. And as our population grows, our economy grows. We need to make sure our infrastructure keeps up. We're investing $190 billion in infrastructure, building the roads and highways and the schools and the hospitals that we need, and that's why we're working closely with all the mayors in the region and across the province to build more homes and bring home ownership into reach for more people. I can't help myself with this, but the Bank of Canada, they need to continue cutting these rates. It's absolutely essential. We're fighting, all of Ontarians are fighting to keep the economy going. They're on the other side trying to slow us down. I've never seen a more antiquated group in my entire life. They're living back in the 1970s. Folks, you want to build homes? We get the Bank of Canada to knock the interest rate down to about 3%. You'll see them pop up like mushrooms everywhere. And on top of that, you know, folks, entrepreneurs and companies will invest into their people, into technology, into their building. The builders, they don't pull money out of their pocket. They go to the banks and borrow money. And if they can't get the money at a reasonable rate, it doesn't happen. People go to make sure they meet the threshold to get a loan. It all comes down to one group. It's called the Bank of Canada, and I encourage the governor of the Bank of Canada, get his act together and start lowering interest rates at a lot faster pace. Just like you did when you raised the interest rates 10 times record speed. It's easy to raise things, but we need to start moving on that. We're investing in more than $50 billion to support more than 50 new hospital projects across Ontario. It's never been done before, including, this is one of the best, including for our new Waterloo Region Hospital. And in fact, later today, I'm joining local officials to announce the new site of that hospital. We're also investing in roads and highways, as I mentioned earlier, including for a new Highway 7 between Kitchener and Guelph to help fight the gridlock on 401. So the Highway 7, I've talked to a lot of local people, and you know, every government says they're going to do it all the way back to Moses. But the difference is we get things done. The other ones talk about it, we actually get things done. So sure as I'm standing here, we're getting that highway connected from Kitchener to Guelph, and it'll just alleviate a lot of the truck traffic, car traffic, getting from point A to point B. And we're supporting the largest transit expansion in North America, including expanded GO train service on Kitchener line. And I'm on our folks like an 800-pound gorilla. I just got off the phone before I walked out and said, what is happening? Let's keep pushing the Kitchener line. Now, some folks don't realize, but we share the line with CN Rail. And we have to make sure we create passing lines. So that's what we're doing right now. The infrastructure is well on its way, and we're moving forward on that. But as I always say, we can't build this infrastructure and we can't attract investments in new businesses if we don't have the workers. That's why, since 2021, our government has invested nearly $1.4 billion in our Skills Development Fund. Working hand in hand with industry groups, labor unions, great associations like the ones we have here today, and I want to thank each and every one of you for doing the incredible job that you do, and our cities and municipalities. We can't get Ontario built without the cooperation and the collaboration with 444 municipalities, and I just want to again thank the mayors and the chair of the region. We've trained almost 600,000 workers for in-demand careers, but we have more work to do to build the workforce of the future. Just think, when we came into office, right, 2018, I always say it was like walking into a bankrupt company. It was a disaster. 300,000 jobs were chased out of this province. Today, because of the hard work of all of you, there's 750,000 people working today that weren't working and collecting a paycheck 6 years ago. So we're going to keep moving forward. That's why today I'm so thrilled to announce that our government is investing up to an additional $260 million. That's $260 million into our Skills Development Fund training stream, with applications opening on July the 29th. And I know the mayor, one of the mayors were asking, Mayor McCabe, how can I get that money? I want to make sure that we have training in their region too. And so it's open, Mayor, on July 29th. This is the biggest investment in skills training in Ontario history. That's probably the Bank of Canada calling. I just heard the phone ring. This new funding will help train hundreds of thousands of more workers for better jobs and bigger paychecks for them and their families. It will help tackle the labor shortages that businesses in our manufacturing, construction, and technology sectors are facing. Let me talk about the tech sector, because we're in one of the tech capitals. You know, before, all the young students, we have the brightest and the best anywhere in the world, that hop on the plane, away they go to Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area, and find a job. We are growing 365% faster in Ontario in the tech sector than Silicon Valley and San Francisco Bay Area. They employ 388,000. We employ well over 425,000, and that number is growing every single day. And it will help build the homes, schools, hospitals, highways, and other critical infrastructure that Cambridge, Kitchener-Waterloo, and the rest of Ontario need. I'm calling on Ontario businesses and labor and communities, municipalities, and everyone with an interest in training workers to submit their proposals and help us build Ontario. I want to thank each and every one of you. Again, I want to thank the great crew here that I met earlier. Keep going, guys. Don't stop. And may God bless the people of Ontario. Thank you so much.
We will now open the floor for questions. Please come up to the mic and state your name and outlet. Just a reminder, it's one question and one follow-up. First question.
Good morning, Premier. Jamie with City TV.
Hey, Jamie, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
You must be happy as anything. You get to go buy a little bit more booze now.
Scotch, I might. No, I stocked up actually. But now we're talking about it. Could you describe from your point of view the LCBO roller coaster ride and getting the settlement? What happened? And is the worst going to still keep on going with the province and the LCBO?
No, I don't think so. You know, we learned many things with this strike. People were still able to get their alcohol, and I knew this, but it just confirmed it. Mess with anyone, but don't mess around with people's booze in Ontario, because they aren't too happy, and they called the strike. And then I've said right from the beginning, you know, this strike should have never, ever happened, and we could have easily sat around the table. But I was able to connect with over 500 people. Not 440, not 450, it was well over 500, and talk to these people. And I can tell you, 98% were super, super nice. They were understanding. And all they kept saying is, I just want to go back to work. A lot of them said, I don't even care about a raise. And you get the odd, you know, nasty call, but that goes with anything. But the vast majority were super people, and they just want to earn a paycheck. And I just want to thank them. I want to thank them for, number one, calling me and having some really good chats. But I want to thank them for the work that they do. They're just hardworking folks. You go into an LCBO, it's clean, they service you, and away you go. But I said right from the get-go that they're going to have job security, which they do. Not only that, the part-timers, now we're going to bring 1,000 people, you know, as full-timers. They're going to get benefits. They're going to get mental health support as well. We gave them a very good pay increase, 8% over 3 years, and they have job security as well. But we also have to be flexible, and people want to be treated like everywhere else in the world. You go to Quebec, you go across the border, you can go into a retail store and pick up a cider or a ready-to-drink cooler and, you know, a case of beer or a bottle of wine. You know, it's you know, that's what we need to do. I want to stop a myth that's out there. When this strike was on, we're losing $2 billion, the world's coming in. No. We don't make money there. We make money on wholesaling. Make it very clear. We make money on wholesaling. The fact is, per capita, we make the least amount of money in the entire country, to the exception of PEI, when it comes to alcohol sales. So I felt like we all worked together. We saved 9,000 jobs, but as many people as I talked to, I had as many people calling me up, get rid of the LCBO, we don't need them, put them in retail. I don't believe that. I believe in supporting the 9,000 hardworking people. And I've always said, I differentiate between labor and labor leadership. I support the frontline labor folks that work their backs off, and I differentiate between public and private sector unions. I love the private sector, and I get along well in some public sector unions. But going back to your question, so we sign a deal. I'm happy as punch. I think we had a press conference out in the Windsor, Essex. So I go out and I see some people on the picket line. I go out and say, hey, we got a deal. You get a deal, you get a deal, right? All of a sudden, surprise, surprise, never in Canadian history that I've ever heard, I've been in a lot of labor negotiations, they rescind the deal and they come back after it's signed. And that's why LCBO was filing unfair labor practices. And they're saying, okay, now since we signed this deal, Now, everyone that was on strike, and they chose to go on strike, not the people, the labor leader, we want them to get paid for 2 weeks. I said, the people would lose their minds. Imagine if that's taking your tax dollars for paying people that weren't working. It's absolutely crazy. So finally, they came to their senses. The leadership came to their senses, and we got the deal signed. People are back to work. Everyone's going to have a great summer. And again, I just want to thank the frontline LCBO workers. I want to thank the LCBO. I want to thank all the staff who was behind the scenes that were working day in and day out. So it's going to be a good thing, and it's going to be great for the people of Ontario. They have a choice. They have the convenience to go in the convenience store. They have a choice to go into the retail store, and everyone's hunky-dory. So we're back to making things happen.
Thank you, Mr. Premier. Next question is President Biden stepping down. First of all, your thoughts, but second of all, does this not reset the protectionism the states are a lot of political types are requiring or asking for?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to thank President Biden for serving the people for 50 years. It's not easy. And it was pretty evident to everyone. It was time for him to move on. And, I felt sorry for him during the debate. It was almost like, even President Trump, he's a tough dude, but he looked at him like, please, throw in the towel. Let's move on. So they're moving on now. They have the vice president running for the nomination. But I don't care who it is, if it's the Democrats or Republicans. We went through this with President Trump last time, putting tariffs on everything. And once he found out that we're the third largest trading partner in the world, Ontario alone, and I got to give credit to the federal government. They sent me down there to talk to Lighthizer. He's kind of the brains of the operation that was doing this deal. And they put tariffs on for a little bit, and then I went back and told the feds, we need to tariff every single thing that comes through the U.S. And sure enough, what happened in 3 weeks? They pulled the tariffs off. The message to our American friends, we're your ally. We aren't your enemy. We're stronger together. And I'm first to admit, I'm probably the worst culprit. I'm out there, buy Ontario, buy Canadian, and they're down there, buy U.S. But we're so interconnected. We're instrumental in 9 million jobs in the U.S. We're the #1 customer to 17 states. We're #2 to 13 other states. So we are an economic powerhouse. They also need a couple things off us. They need quite a few things off us. One they need is our energy. As we expand our energy portfolio, expand our nuclear, clean, green, reliable energy, and they're going to need it. New York needs energy down in Pennsylvania, Ohio, but people don't realize, as we stand right now, our grid, we can deliver energy as far south as Florida. That's pretty staggering. So we're a nuclear powerhouse in around the world. We have the brightest people in delivering reasonable, cost-effective energy. We're going to build on that, but we're going to build on all forms of energy as well. So we have extra energy. We're shipping it down the U.S. And these big data centers, they suck energy like you've never seen before. So we will be an energy powerhouse. The other thing that they need, that we have, is critical minerals. China has 90% of the nickel cornered around the world. The U.S. military wants our critical minerals to build their weapons. They're our closest ally, and we have no problem working with them. But auto parts, as you know, go back and forth across the border 8 times in a lot of cases to get assembled down the street at Toyota or other auto manufacturers. We're now a world leader when it comes to the EV assembly and production of batteries here in North America. The investments are $43 billion of investment that we have seen over the last 3 years come to Ontario. And I always say government doesn't create jobs or we're all in trouble. We create the environment and conditions for companies to come here and thrive and prosper and grow. And then the people that work there thrive, prosper and grow. And that's what they've done. And I just want to thank everyone here, because I think you support the nuclear sector, you support the auto sector, and there's just reciprocal jobs all the way down the road. So I'm looking forward to whoever is president. We need to go down there and talk to him and tell him what an important partner we are. And the new slogan is Buy North America, because it's us versus over in Europe, over South America, over in Asia, and we need to stick together. Thank you.
Next question.
Hi, Premier. Mark Douglas, City News
Hey, Mark.
570. Hi. Just to go back to what you were mentioning before about the LCBO, you say the money is made in the wholesale side.
That's right.
The ready-to-drink beverages, some of the best sellers at LCBO retail, those are going into private sector now. So just to go back to something you mentioned before, why is there a future for the LCBO retail locations in Ontario? The best products are out the door and money is being made elsewhere.
Actually, I just got to correct you. It's not out the door. Ready to drink makes up about 9% of LCBO sales. They can't even keep ready to drink on the shelves. So we can see that market growing within the LCBO. We also see new regions popping up across Ontario because of the investments of these companies. And just one example, St. Thomas. St. Thomas is a small little town. All of a sudden, Volkswagen comes in and is building the 4th largest building in the world, the largest battery plant in North America, 16 million square feet. A community is going to pop up, and guess what we're doing? We're putting an LCBO there. So they're always going to be able to ready to drink, and I can tell you one thing. You have friends over, you're going to the liquor store, LCBO, and you walk in, you're grabbing a bottle of wine, you're getting a bottle of scotch, and some people drink ready to drink. They aren't going to the convenience store to buy ready to drink. They're going over to the freezer or fridge and grabbing ready to drink there. But it all comes down to the market and the people dictate. No matter what industry, what sector you're in, you give quality service, a quality product at a competitive price, guess what they're doing? They're coming to your store. But if you give lousy service, lousy quality, and a high price, they aren't coming. I have confidence in LCBO. They meet the first 3 thresholds. Great quality, great people serving you, and at a competitive price. So we're going to keep moving forward on it. But thank you for the question.
This will be the last reporter.
Hi, Premier. Cameron
Hi.
Mahler with CBC News.
How you doing?
Good. You?
Good.
Good. Your government is planning to build a 3-story underground parking garage at Ontario Place, right where we saw massive flooding on the lakeshore last week. Is your government reconsidering that plan in the wake of this storm, and how would you flood-proof it if you are going to build?
Yeah, great question. What we're looking at, we haven't confirmed the 3 underground parking spaces because it costs so much to build underground. We'd like to build as much on top without prohibiting the view. But do you know what Ontario Place is going to be? It's going to be world-class. Mark my words, it'll be the #1 tourist attraction in all of Canada. So CN Tower has about 1.2 million people. Let's all agree that's a pretty good tourist attraction. But with Live Nation, with the bands going, state-of-the-art, we have the water park there, and still there's a whole part of Ontario Place that hasn't been developed. Once they see it, people, their jaws will drop, and more tourists will come there. And we're doing that with the Ontario Science Centre as well. We're building a brand spanking new, state-of-the-art, more exhibit space in the right location, not in a sleepy little neighborhood in the suburbs that no one goes to, but this is where all the action is, where the soccer is, and the stadium, and Live Nation, the exhibition. So it's just common sense. Like, it's just a no-brainer. I always say, only in Toronto would a government come up and say, we're going to invest $1.5 billion making a world-class destination, Science Centre and Ontario Place, and you get a small percentage, because it is small overall, they make a lot of noise. We don't want it. We want to stay antiquated. We want an old wrecked down Ontario Place that no one's touched in 10 years and no one uses. We have an old building, 55 years old, with a lot of problems throughout the whole building. And we're saying we're going to build something brand spanking new. We know it's right. People know it's right. And it'll be the #1 attraction out there. So stay tuned on the parking lot. We're working with the city as well. Maybe we'll put it on the other side. But it's transit, that on a new transit system that we're building, the largest transit system in North America, they're going to be dropped off right on the front doorstep of both the Science Centre and Ontario Place. It's going to be spectacular when we're done.
Thank you. Next question. People here in the Waterloo region have heard this new Highway 7 promise before, just like we've heard two-way all-day go will be a reality. What exactly is new with today's Highway 7 announcement, and is there a timeline in mind to get this highway built?
Well, we're already moving forward on it. We're building the bridges, but we're also, what we're doing is working with Six Nations community to make sure everything's hunky-dory with them. But we've proved it. When we say we're going to get something done, we do it. Highway 413, it should have been started a year ago, but the federal government decided to mingle, and I've never heard of this, but they've done it all across the country. Transportation is our jurisdiction, but they wanted to get hokey pokey and everything else. Finally made a deal with them. Now we're moving forward with Highway 413, the Bradford bypass as well, Highway 7 here, Highway 3 down in southwestern Ontario, Highway 11 and 17. Anyone that drives anywhere, which you all do, construction is happening everywhere. It drives us all crazy, myself included, but let's get it done and we'll build for the future. We need to build infrastructure. So sure as I'm standing here, that Highway 7 is going to be built, bottom line. The other ones are talkers, we're doers. That's the difference.